welcome to American Management's podcast. We call this podcast our podcast, The Hardball Profits Way. And what we hope to do in every podcast is to give you something, some information, some tidbit of value, some nugget, something that might help you with your business. So, as we have said to you before, if you are an owner, a wannabe owner, an entrepreneur, a make-believe entrepreneur, someone that wants to be an owner someday in the future, if your parents are owners, if your children are owners, if your grandparents are owners, if your grandchildren are owners, if you have some responsibility for covering the payroll for other people, not just yourself, then you are an owner. You are an entrepreneur. You are someone that has the burden on his or her shoulders for protecting other people. So we are at what we call the onset of hell. We believe that the next 3 months will be hell. Who guards the gates of hell, Michael?
Hades, right?
Hades?
Is that right?
I don't know. How about Lucifer?
Lucifer?
I
thought he was
Lucifer.
in hell. I don't know.
Why would I like Lucifer? I love Lucifer. Lucifer guards the gates of hell. So right now, what we believe is we are entering 3 months of MF hell. Our 3 months begin when, Mike?
April 1st.
April 1st, March to June 30th. I don't even know how calendar works anymore. April 1st to June 30th, 3 months of hell. And I think on a prior episode, a prior podcast, we suggested to people that they mark their calendar 3 months of hell, April 1 to June 30th. I bet you very few people did that, Mike. What do you think?
No, but we're going to keep pushing it. So
keep pushing it. There you go. Okay. So to help people get through 3 months of hell, what have we done, Michael?
Well, we're doing a series of podcasts, and first one we said you need to have leadership. Your people are looking to you. Your business is looking to you. Your family's looking to you. Everybody's looking to you to be the foundation, to help them get through this, to answer the questions, and
to be solid.
To be solid. But the reality is our business owners are people too. They need people to bounce their thoughts and ideas and help in that, and that's what we're hopefully trying to do. Then we translated that into an action plan, and we said there's 3 components: people, the integrity of your business, and your liquidity. We've already done a show on the people side of it, and I think today, if I'm not mistaken, we're going to address the next part of that, which is the operational part of it.
Okay, that's great. So basically what we've done is we've launched this podcast. We've gotten more and more active on social media. We're telling people through LinkedIn and what are these other stupid sites called? Twitter, that we have launched the Owners Crisis Hotline through our partnership with who, Mike?
The U.S. Conference of Mayors.
United States Conference of Mayors. United States Conference of Mayors at any point in time represents up to 1,000 member cities throughout the country, and we are the exclusive consulting firm that the United States Conference of Mayors supports, endorses, and works with throughout the continental United States. So, through the United States Conference of Mayors, we have launched the Owners Crisis Hotline. And since I have bastardized the phone number for this hotline, I don't know, Jonathan, how many times? 1,000? I've bastardized this phone number 1,000 times. Mike, I'm going to leave it up to you. But before you tell them the phone number, who should call it, Michael?
Everybody. Anybody that has a question and wants free advice.
Okay.
The F word.
So in the continental United States, there's about 330 million people. How many of them should call us?
330 of them.
330, not 330 million?
Well, I was exponentially adjusting.
Would we take the call or would it go to some recording?
It is going to be answered by a live human being, and that live human being will transfer them to either you or me for direct help. You will talk to a live individual person. I'm
not going to be sleeping much, am I?
Nope.
Very cool. Okay, so we have this Owners Crisis Hotline. And Mike, the number is?
855-876-5561.
Very cool. There you go. No robots?
No robots.
No
live
voicemail?
People, no voicemails, no robots. Live people that will put you in touch with one of the two of us, and we will help answer those questions. And we've been getting calls already.
Very cool. All right, so my name's Lou Mosca. I am the Chief Operating Officer of American Management Services. For those of you that don't know, American Management Services is a management consulting and turnaround firm. Folks, those are not necessarily the same thing. So management consulting is we enhance value for ownership. Turnaround is we get you out of the crap you got yourself into. It is two distinct functions that our business at any point in time is usually split about 50-50. Is that fair, Michael?
That's fair.
Okay, and I'm joined today again, by my orange and green socked friend, Michael Lockey, our Director of Management Services. So, Michael, let's jump right into this. Let's give our listeners a couple of tidbits on how to protect the integrity of their operation.
Yeah, I think we're, as we've been saying through these podcasts, we're in uncharted waters. It's not normal operating procedures. It's outside the realm, and we've got to get creative with this. So some of the things that we've been putting in our plans with our clients is, I think first thing, in order to maintain whatever level of sales that you have, or to make sure financially you're viable. Well, let's make this simple. Raise the bridge, lower the water, right? That's what we say.
I've heard that before.
Yeah, we've used that. We use that with our clients all the time. I think it's particularly apt in this situation. If you want to keep your operations going, you can do one of two things. You can raise the bridge, i.e. you can sell more than what you're anticipating, or you can lower the water, which is cut cost. Now, since this is operations, I'm trying to keep finance out of it for the time being. But you can't just ignore the financial aspect of it. But
even before you get to operations, right? In prior episode, we talked about leadership.
Right.
In a prior episode, we talked about people.
Yep.
Right. And leadership and people go hand in hand and feed into integrity of your operation.
Absolutely.
If you don't have direct, consistent, strong, solid, compassionate leadership, and your people don't feel what you're feeling and have confidence in your direction, doesn't matter what you want to do operationally, does it?
Correct. That's totally correct.
So let's assume we've gotten there.
And let's expound on that. You can't focus on any one of these three areas more so than the others. You can't put your people ahead of everything. You can't put your liquidity in front of everything, and you can't put your operations in front of. They all three have to work in conjunction with each other. So, but since we're talking about operations, one of the first things that we asked our clients to do was appoint somebody in your organization to communicate daily with your suppliers, and that extended to your customers as well. People have to be responsible for reaching out. Why your suppliers? Well, you got to make sure that whatever service you're performing for your clients, you have adequate supply.
You want your raw material flow to be
absolutely
whatever that raw material is. Could be something, could be people. It doesn't matter.
Well, let's flip the coin around. If your supplier isn't up and running and operating, you sure as hell aren't going to be up and running. So you have to know that you have stable ability to get supply in. I think most what we've seen across the board is if you're in these essential businesses, the flow's working pretty well, notwithstanding cash flow, but the flow's working there. But you want to make sure that you're following up on that every single day. Then the other side of it, the customers. Well, you got to have somebody to sell your product to. And again, notwithstanding cash flows and notwithstanding their ability to be up and running, whether you're dealing business to business or business to customers, those people have to be around. And I think what we're seeing in a lot of instances is our business owners aren't taking enough of an effort to contact their customers. It's just they're waiting on the phones to ring. They're waiting on people to show up and beat on the doors. Maybe with the exception of restaurants and all these delivery services, they're just waiting for people to show up. We talked to a guy today in the automotive repair business. He said he's not reached out to any of his customers. Why? Why would you do that? People aren't thinking about that.
We talked to someone today that owns a beauty salon.
Yeah.
And what we told this individual was, call every one of your customers that you do a hair color service on and talk to them about how to provide the service remotely. And we gave her a suggestion that could work, and she jumped on it. She jumped on it. So really what you want is you want to instill confidence in your people. So one of the things we might want to suggest is let's make our production schedules into 2-week increments, right? Let's see what kind of inventory we have on hand. Let's see what our vendors are telling us is happening. And then while we're talking to our key vendors every day, we need to be talking to our key customers every day, because this flow has to be matched, this ebb and flow. Another thing operationally is staffing. You need to have a 2-week window of your operations, right? What's going to come from your vendors, what your customers are going to need, and how you're going to staff it so that if you need to make changes, you can make it in real time, not after the fact. Make sense?
Absolutely. Totally. I'm going to back up on something you just said, your inventory. If I had a nickel for every client in normal times that we walked in and had no idea how much inventory they had.
Yeah, but I bet you it was too much.
Oh, totally. Whether we express it in terms of cash or just physical quantities
Stuff
that they have, and they didn't know that, I'd probably be retired on an island. Nowadays, your inventory is your lifeblood because you don't know tomorrow if I'm going to be able to get new supply. Part of the reason we tell you keep in touch with your suppliers so you kind of see that coming. But if you don't know what you have on your shelves, how do you know you can make it a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever the case may be? It's different times. Know your inventory, know how much you have so that you can reasonably navigate through in a situation if supply gets stunted. And a lot of people don't know that in normal times, let alone coronavirus times.
Listen, you touch a lot more clients than I do, but I think operationally you have to be so in tune with what's going on ahead of you, your suppliers, what's going on after you, your customers. I also think you need to be thinking about all the time, if you're a manufacturer, can I do something else with my manufacturing capacity that ties into the urgent needs that are going on right now, whether it's antiseptic-based, whether it is pharmaceutical-based, whether it is anything that food-based that might provide value right now to give you an opportunity to grow. Just because you bought a machine that can punch a widget, don't think it can't do something beyond that. Might not, I don't know, but you got to look outside your normal comfort zone. If you're not a manufacturer and you're a distributor or you're do something else, how do you provide services into an industry that's hot, not an industry that's in trouble right now? So you have to be willing to step out of your damn skin.
So let me give you a good example of this. We have a client right now that is in the cleaning supplies business. Their business is booming right now to a degree because they've lost some of the schools and stuff because of those.
They make
closures.
up for it in other areas.
Yeah. But the healthcare is booming. My question that I asked our consultant that's boots on the ground is, are they in the surgical mask business? And he said, no, they're not in the surgical mask business. But we're going to start calling. We're going to start calling the 3Ms of the world and all these people that are manufacturing because maybe there's an opportunity for us to take advantage of the
distribute
situation.
their product now or whatever.
But on the flip side of that, it's not just about taking advantage of it. It's securing their place in the business as well and making sure that this supply is getting to the people that need it the most, the healthcare industry. They're already supplying hospitals. They're already supplying. It would make natural sense for them to just roll that into their normal
I read some of the
offering.
Governors are willing to pay almost any price
Absolutely.
for certain things.
Absolutely.
So all we're saying is that if you've made a living between 1, 2, 3, 4 for 30 years, don't be afraid to go to 5, 6, 7 right now because you may find some additional opportunities.
Let me give you another example. I have a friend that works in the trucking business. They do the car hauling. Well, what's happening right now? Nobody's buying cars. Cars aren't moving. But these guys have 60 trucks. Last time I checked, trucking hasn't stopped. Matter of fact, if anything, it's blowing up between the Amazon shipments back and forth and all the stuff going healthcare and supplies going here and there and blah, 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 blah. If you're a trucking company that hauls something other than these things, why are you not reaching out to whoever, whether that's another trucking company that does perform this or warehouses, logistics, and saying, I've got trucks available, I got drivers available. How do we help move this stuff in there and take that opportunity? I think if there's a theme, I guess, coming out of all this is if you're not aggressive in trying to keep your business up and running, then you're just expecting somebody to call you, or you're expecting a customer to walk in the door, or you're expecting someone to say, hey, I need masks moved, or whatever the case may be, you're behind the 8 ball. Think outside the box, be creative, try to find ways to keep your business up and running.
Call someone like us. We'll challenge your normal.
No problem.
We will not accept you doing the normal. It is not going to happen. But I think one of the biggest issues or one of the biggest benefits to me of being proactive from an operational perspective or from the integrity of an organizational perspective is it keeps you key people involved.
Yeah.
They're part of the solution. They're part of the planning.
Yeah.
They're part of the scheduling. They're helping deal with the vendors, the customers, the suppliers. They're helping you think outside the box. They will be part of your success as we get through these 3 months of hell. And I think that's as important as the actual function of doing this.
Well, we just said earlier, none of these things can operate independently of themselves. Again, if you just focus on your operations and not your people and not your liquidity, something bad will happen. Just like if you focus on any of the other ones without focusing on this. And I think you're right. I mean, just think of the positive impact you're going to have on your people, knowing that, hey, we have a plan. We're executing to a plan that's going to maybe not make us whole, but maybe keeps us in the game, so to speak. And maybe that means I can keep an extra 1 or 2 people on board and give those people and their families hope and welfare. Or maybe I can generate enough revenue where maybe I can't make everybody whole, but I can keep 10 people part-time as opposed to 2 people part-time. Any little thing that you can do from your operational standpoint to stay productive, to keep generating revenue, keep your business afloat as best as you can, should extrapolate itself to confidence in your people. And again, in reality, you're probably not going to make everybody happy, but every little bit you can do, showing your people that you're fighting for them, fighting for your business, I think will go over. I used the word Uber last time. It will give your people some Uber confidence that you're going to sustain the storm, you're going to weather the storm.
Okay, so you mentioned truckers before, hauling something other than what their norm is. And, I've been thinking about that. If you think about, we gave that presentation at the Cottingham and Butler program I guess it was last July or August in Schaumburg, Illinois. Yep. And there were about 400 or 500 truckers in that room at the time, right? And, they went from having this hardship of can't finding drivers to now, fuel's $2 a gallon, not $2.50 or $3 a gallon. Walmart and Amazon don't need help with truckers. They've got their own trucks, tractor trailers. They've got their own fleets. All right, so the truckers that want to survive right now need to haul one of 2 or 3 things. They need to haul pharmaceuticals. They need to haul food, right? Or they need to haul, medical supplies? Medical supplies, right?
Sure.
So if they're not hauling that and they've made a living hauling corrugated boxes, they're in trouble.
Yeah.
So they got to think about how they conduct their business. So let's wrap this up, if you don't mind, for a second here. So even in protecting the integrity of an organization still comes back to solid leadership, solid communication. Do it. Don't tell me to do it. Show me that you're the leader, and people will follow you. What's that?
Executing to a plan.
Executing to a plan, which too many people don't have a formal plan,
right.
Which I guess we've talked about that 4 million times, and probably by the time I turn 65, we'll talk about it 4 million times. But execute to a formal plan. Don't be afraid to keep your key people involved. Keep the lines of communication open with your vendors, your customers. Check your inventory. Yesterday or the day before, I read an article about, or I listened to a podcast about someone who had $2 million in inventory, and to keep the doors open, they're going to liquidate $400,000 of the inventory. And what went through my mind is, number one, are you out of your mind? You had $2 million in inventory, all right? Her turns were about 4.5 times a year, which is just nuts to me. Yep. Number two, how are you going to liquidate $400,000 of it? Going to be a fire sale?
Yep.
Okay, so what are you doing to yourself? So folks should not just run down a path thinking they're okay. Solid leadership, solid communication, work a plan. If you don't have a plan, create a damn plan and work the plan, and talk to your vendors, your customers, check your inventory consistently, and there is a financial impact to everything you do. Stay on top of it. Mike, take us home.
And if you have any questions, free. You're going to talk to a live human, 855-876-5561. Lou and I will help you.
Anytime. Thanks for joining us on this edition of the Hardball Profits Way.